Hello, and thank you for joining us here on the Sundry Loops channel. Why does it seem like you spend the majority of your time these days lounging about in bed, engaging in activities that contribute nothing to your goals, and not getting anything done? Do you notice that you get worn out extremely quickly and that you lack the drive to complete any tasks you set for yourself? Do you consider this conduct to be nothing more than an example of your laziness on your part? Because of the significant degree to which the two symptoms are intertwined with one another, distinguishing between burnout and laziness may be challenging. Burnout is a condition of emotional, physiological, and mental exhaustion that may be brought on by continuous exposure to high amounts of stress and an inability to handle that stress in an efficient manner. According to a poll that was carried out in the United States in 2010, more than 3/4 of individuals in the nation had experienced mild to moderate symptoms of burnout. Furthermore, more than 40% of respondents reported having more severe symptoms of burnout. It is more important than it has ever been to educate people about the dangers of burnout and the preventative measures they may take, especially given the current state of the economy. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's take a look at 6 solid signals that what you're feeling right now isn't simply laziness but rather burnout rather than just plain old laziness. Amidst the lively tones of music, the following may be found. To begin, there's a feeling that you're cut off from the rest of the world and alone in some way. This is the characteristic that stands out the most. Do you go through the motions of life and treat each day as if it were meaningless, or do you pretend that nothing important is happening? Throughout their lives, a lot of people have the experience of feeling as if they are disconnected from their own identity. This is something that is common. If you are so worn out that you are on the verge of burnout, it is possible that you are going through the process of depersonalization, which you may not even be aware of or comprehend. People who have experienced depersonalization, the majority of whom are people who have been traumatized, have described feeling a peculiar emotional numbness or emptiness, as though they were observing life from outside themselves. This is the most common type of people who have experienced depersonalization. People who have gone through traumatic experiences are more likely to have this emotion. They are unable to provide any kind of identifying information about themselves. It seems that nothing could pique their interest in the topic. They continually fight against the overpowering sensation that they have no control over their life and that they are unable to recover that control for themselves. They believe that they are unable to change their circumstances. The second factor is that you had motivation in the past. Character traits that are unfavorable, such as slowness, should be avoided at all costs. In addition, a person's core characteristics are unlikely to undergo significant changes throughout the course of their lifetime. Laziness may be identified by the presence of many identifying traits, including an unwillingness to expend any effort or focus on a job. If you used to be extremely motivated and successful, often excelling in certain areas, then burnout rather than laziness is the most likely explanation for your current lack of motivation and tiredness. This is because burnout causes a physical and mental exhaustion that makes it difficult to maintain motivation. This is especially the case if you are able to single out key facets of your performance in which you excelled. The third consideration is that you once have a great deal of vitality. One of the most noticeable distinctions between a person who is lethargic and someone who is burned out is the fact that a person who is burned out once had things that they were excited about but may now find it difficult to find interest or joy in longer. This is one of the reasons why a person who is burned out may find it difficult to find interest or joy in longer. Burnout might make it more challenging for you to engage in activities that you previously enjoyed or were enthusiastic about. This might be a talent, a sport, or even simply the general performance you've had in your academic or professional life. It is possible that you may come to dislike or detest it as a result of how hard you worked and how close you got to becoming tired. This is as a result of how close you came to passing out from exhaustion. Ouch. 4. You've been more irritated and your emotions have grown more erratic. Do you notice that you are becoming less patient and more sarcastic than you typically are? In today's culture, a sizable portion of the population is likely to experience periods in their lives in which they are emotionally unstable for no apparent reason. Despite the fact that depression and irritation are prevalent indications of burnout, they often go undiagnosed. Therefore, if you suddenly discover that you are having difficulties managing your emotions despite the fact that this has never been an issue for you in the past, this may be the reason why. Especially considering the fact that this has never been a problem for you in the past. Lazy individuals, on the other hand, have a tendency to have a relaxed attitude and seem to be unfazed by the highs and lows that are a normal part of life. You arrive in 5th place because you haven't taken the effort to attend to your own needs. This is why you are in this position. It is a sure indicator that you are emotionally and physically drained if you cease taking care of yourself and spend less time with other people. There have been some alarming changes in the typical habits of either your eating or sleeping that you have been following. You cease putting in the effort to take care of yourself or look well, and you choose to spend the majority of your time alone doing nothing instead of spending time with others. This is due to the fact that you get exhausted by even the most fundamental of tasks, and as a result, you stop making an effort to keep yourself in excellent shape or to look attractive. The fact that you did not always behave in this manner shows the primary distinction between being burned out and just being lazy. And as a last and concluding point, number 6, these transformations occurred throughout the course of time. It is important for you to understand that it takes time for burnout to develop and progress. This is the last but certainly not the least important element. All of these issues, such as losing interest and drive, particularly in things we used to enjoy, feeling distant from yourself and alienated from everything around you, socially withdrawing and disregarding your own self-care, won't just appear out of nowhere, as was previously indicated. These issues include losing interest and drive, in particular in things we used to enjoy, feeling distant from yourself and alienated from everything around you, feeling distant from yourself and alienated from everything around you. The results of a number of studies suggest that burnout may be divided into 5 distinct phases, each of which is defined by a degree of intensity that is characterized by a degree of intensity that grows increasingly more severe. The period known as honeymoon, which is followed by the beginning of stress, the beginning of chronic stress, the beginning of burnout, and the beginning of persistent burnout, respectively. Many individuals start to display symptoms such as a loss in optimism, interest, and motivation as early as the 2nd phase, even if they are still feeling mild stress at this point. These symptoms include, this period is also the beginning of the performance drop that will continue. And by the time you reach the 5th and final stage of burnout, the condition has already become so ingrained in your life that the persistent mental and physical exhaustion has become more severe and more difficult to treat, leaving you more susceptible to developing feelings of hopelessness and worry. It is in your best interest to get treatment for your burnout as soon as possible and get started on your road to recovery as quickly as possible. This will improve your capacity to cope with the situation. Since of this, it is highly necessary to increase awareness of burnout rather than, as the majority of people tend to do, merely passing it off as a sign of lethargy. This is particularly important because burnout may have serious consequences. Do not be reluctant to speak to a skilled practitioner in the area of mental health if you or someone you love may be experiencing mental or emotional weariness. If you find this video to be helpful, please leave a comment below, click the like button, and share it with others who are also dealing with burnout. Don't forget to subscribe, and be sure to hit the notification bell.